Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Today is a really special video, and it's something that I have been working on for a long time, but I just wasn't ready to share it with the world yet. But I am here today to share my story with you guys, and I hope that I can help anyone who's going through this, or anyone who has a friend going through this, have a little bit better perspective on cancer and dying, and just know that you're not alone. Before I get into the video, I want to give a huge thank you to all of my mom's subscribers and my subscribers who sent kind and loving messages and comments and gifts and letters. I don't think there is enough words in this world to say thank you the way I want to say thank you, but I just want you guys to know that you guys were there for my family and myself more than my own friends in my real life. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who sent love and support during that super, super difficult time. Your love and compassion was not unnoticed, and my entire family is so incredibly thankful for all of the love you guys sent us and the love you still send us to this day. So thank you. If you guys want to know more about my mom's story, she does have a YouTube channel which documents the entire situation from start to finish. And there's also a really, really beautifully done tribute video that a fan made, and I will link that below and also put their username here. I loved that video. I go back and watch that video every time I miss her. So to the person that made that, thank you so much. It was so beautifully done. So thank you to everyone who made tribute videos. I will post my favorite one So let's get into the video. My mom was diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer, and eventually it spread to her liver, ultimately making her terminal. She was struggling for many, many months, as you guys know. But towards the very end, she was unable to walk, and she was unable to eat certain foods. She was using oxygen, and it was just getting really bad. And at that time, she was just in and out of the hospital all the time. So on this particular case, we took her to the hospital because she wasn't feeling well, and her vitals were so out of whack that they had to keep her overnight to give her fluids to kind of even out everything and stabilize her. During this time, I was obsessed with this website on Instagram, clothing website, and there was this lace dress coming out that everyone wanted, and I just had to have it. And I was in the hospital room with my mom freaking out about the dress. I'm like, I need the dress, meh, meh, meh. And looking back, I'm like, I can't believe I was obsessed with a dress during this moment. But that's how I was dealing with things, and it's disappointing, and I wish that I would have been more present with my mom, but I wasn't. And I was panicking, my card wasn't working, something was wrong, and my mom was like, here, just take my card and buy the dress. So I went and sat on the couch, and I was holding the card, and I had my phone here, and I was putting in the information, and in walks like 6 doctors. And they gather around my mom, and I'm like, what the hell, like, what's going on? And they start talking to her. I'm not really listening, trying to get this information into the phone. And I hear hospice. And I just remember like looking at the card and just like looking up and hearing hospice and being really confused and wondering why the fuck they're talking about hospice to my mom. And I just hear them say, you know, we're at the end of the road. There's nothing left we can do for you. We really just think it's a good idea for you to go to hospice. And my mom being like, no, I'm not going to hospice. And her doctor saying, well, we have nothing left for you here at the hospital. Like, you. It was a really intense conversation. And I remember her direct doctor that she dealt with the most, like, held her hand and was like, Christina, like, it's time to go to hospice. And my mom just like getting irritated, like getting really pissed off. Like, she was like, why won't you guys let me fight? I don't want to give up. Please don't make me give up. I don't want to give up. And she was just begging them, like, please let me fight. And eventually they left the room, and I remember like wishing I hadn't heard the conversation and just sitting there like staring at my mom waiting for her to like tell me what to do. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, they're saying you have to go to hospice? Like, what? Like, are we really doing that? Like people who go to hospice to die. Like, what are they talking about? But I just sat there like completely silent, and she looked at me and she goes, "Alyssa, people walk out of hospice all the time." And she said it like 5 times. She's like, "People walk out of hospice all the time. People walk out of hospice all the time." And I just remember looking at her and saying, "Yes, you are going to be one of those people. You're going to walk out." So cut to later that night. During the day I had to take care of Ava, so I ended up leaving her at the hospital with Ernesto and taking Ava home. And later that night I went to hospice to visit her, and she was asleep. And my family was saying that she'd been asleep for a while, so I was like, okay, you know, she's probably exhausted from the transfer from the hospital. So I let her sleep through the night. The next morning, I was like, I want to talk to her. Like, I'm sorry, like, she's been asleep for 12 hours. Like, I just want to talk to her. And everyone left the room. And I was just, a little backstory about my mom and I. My mom was a single mom. And she and I were, it was always just my mom and I growing up. Mom suffered from fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome previous to her cancer diagnosis, so she'd always slept a lot. And anytime I needed her, I would literally say her name one time, and she would like wake up super fast. And I used to make fun of her for it. I'd be like, "Mom, you're so funny when I wake you up." Because she would always be like, what's happening? Like, I would say "Mom" one time, and she would wake up out of a dead sleep so fast. Anyway, so everyone left the room, and I was like, okay, I'm waking her up. So I'm like, "Mom," she didn't answer. "Mom," she didn't wake up. "Mom," still not awake. So I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like, she's, you know, she's on a lot of meds. Like, maybe that's why. So I'm like shaking her, like, "Mom, wake up. Mom, wake up." And she like wouldn't wake up. And so that was like the worst moment of my life. Like, she wouldn't wake up, and I was like shaking and shaking and shaking. And like that was the moment when I realized that I would never talk to her again. And I felt really bad because hospice had given us this pamphlet, and it was like, even when they're sedated, like, they can still hear you, they just can't respond, which is horrible. Like, I would never want my mom to like be trapped in her body like that, you know, like, fuck. And so after she wouldn't wake up, I realized like she might be able to hear me. I just felt so bad that I like shook her, and I decided to just like take a deep breath and sing to her, because I didn't want her last memory of my voice to be like me panicking. So I decided to sing, and I sung "You Are My Sunshine" to her, and it was kind of like a, you know, it was like, I wanted it to be happy, but I also wanted it to kind of be like a prayer to God. "You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away." At that point, I was like, she is gonna die, but if I accept the fact that she's gonna die, then like it'll happen sooner. So I just like did not want to just be okay with her dying. So I was like, I'm gonna keep asking God to keep her here as much as I can. And so that's what I did. I sang and I sang and I sang, and I held her hand. She never woke up. I think it was like 2 days after that, they called me, and I was watching Ava, and she was napping, and I woke her up, and we went back. And I remember I was just so calm and peaceful when we were driving to her, and we get there, and everybody's there. Like, some of our family from the mountains drove down to say goodbye, and there were so many people. And it was like literally when the last person got there, that's when she took her final breath. I didn't really know it was her last breath, and the nurse said, "She's gone. She's gone." And I just remember like breaking down. I've never cried like that before. It hurt so bad. And my Aunt Natasha just like grabbing me and holding me. Like, that's all I remember. And like, that is like the worst day of my life. And watching my grandma cry because she lost her firstborn. Just like, it was horrible, you guys. I would never wish that on anyone, to watch your mom die, your dad die, your best friend. Like, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. It's been about 1.5 years since she died on October 26th. And to be honest, right after she died, I totally lost my mind. And for some reason, I just felt like everyone around me all of a sudden like couldn't deal with me. People would try to be there for me, but at the end of the day, like, it wasn't enough ever, no matter what. So for the past 2 months, I've been really, really working hard on who I want to be, what career do I want, what kind of people do I want in my life, what kind of relationship do I want. And I feel a lot better, and I feel like I'm in a good place, and I'm happy, and I'm ready to just be Alyssa again. And I was just angry. I was so angry, you guys, for so long. And in this moment in front of this camera, I do finally feel a lot better. And I feel like there's a lot of good things coming my way, and I'm excited. So if we all can just like talk about it together and share our experiences, I think that will really help heal us all and kind of just keep us all afloat. If you have any questions or comments for me, please comment below. Thank you guys so much for watching.